and welcome to another video. In this video, I wanted to do a voiceover so I can share a little bit of a backstory for this craft project. This project is going to be a two-parter because it did take quite a while to create, and amongst other things that I had to do, I just couldn't get it all done in a timely manner. I mean, this video is already coming out late as it is. So we're just gonna have to split this up in two parts. The first part is going to be T's home, and then the second part is going to be more of the exterior, or her land that her home is going to be on. So who is T, you might ask? T is an original character that I've been drawing sketches in my sketchbook with, and I kind of like to sketch her like day to day, what she tends to do, her little adventures and stuff like that. I haven't done it in a while because I've just been working on other things, and craft projects like these take a while, but I do want to get back into sketching and making like daily little illustrations about her life. Now, T is an oakling. An oakling is a species of character that comes out of acorns. Oh, so very quickly, I'm sorry about the beginning part of this footage. You just see like this ball of clay, and there was a whole section that was missing, and I don't know where the footage went. I may have accidentally deleted it. But basically, I took a clear plastic bauble, like a hanging ornament that I got from like our local dollar store, and I covered the exterior and the interior with air dry clay. And then I made an oopsies already from the jump. I want to keep the windows open so I can put trim around them, and I wanted them to be able to be visible from the outside, like lighting from the inside, visible from the outside. But I already messed up, so I had to drill the holes back in. Where that footage went, I do not know, but it starts off here with just a white dome with the circles already cut out, and then I went over the air dry clay once it was already hardened with modeling paste, and used a brush so that I can grab the textures from the brush bristles to keep those lines and that texture on it. I wanted the circle part, like the base of her home, to look like it came from the base of an acorn, since she is an oakling. So yeah, pretty much that's kind of where I started with this, and then once I fixed some of my issues, I went forward with doing the rest of the project. Okay, back to story time. Oaklings are rare. They're not common. Not every acorn will have an oakling inside of it. Oakling acorns are larger than normal acorns, and when they are ripened and heavy enough, they will fall from trees, and then they will crack when they hit the ground. And that's how an oakling is hatched, I guess you can say, or sprouted, whatever terminology you want to use for it. But then an oakling will come out. And when they do that, they adhere to some of the acorn. So part of the acorn will make up part of its face. It may cover the entire face, like it kind of does with T. Like mostly her entire face is, it looks like some kind of like wooden texture on it, almost like she's wearing a mask, but that's like her face. And then for Oak, which is another oakling character, he kind of just has it over his eyes, almost like just like a visor over his eyes, or like sunglasses or something like that. But it covers the entirety of his face, the upper part of it. And again, when they crack or they hatch, they may have partial acorn faces, or they might have a full covering on their face. It all depends on how the acorn cracks when they come out. So T kind of like goes about her day. When she's hatched, she does like the baby like steps, I guess, to learning about her environment, and they quickly discover what their traits are and what they like to do. For example, T is named T because she likes to forage for tea leaves and come up with her own tea recipes. She does like to bake as well, but her biggest thing is tea. She also likes to sew or do like crochet, knitting, anything like that. She likes to forage for materials around and create things. For example, she created her own dress, and she also makes her own teapots. So yeah, Oaklings are very resourceful and creative and crafty, and they kind of just use those skills to live and do day-to-day activities. And those are things I like to showcase in my sketchbook. Like, I'll sketch and draw, and sometimes even do full illustrations on what they like to do. Now, upon her walks, T started realizing how lonely she was becoming. While Oaklings are solitary creatures, sometimes they do want some type of companionship. And she had a scare. She went exploring. She wanted to just learn a lot about nature and the insects and the bugs. And she had a couple scares along her adventures. She got chased down by a hawk. She traveled to a spooky woods area, and it really freaked her out. And that's when she really started to realize she wished she had someone there with her to do all of these explorations with. So upon one of her walks, she noticed there was a huge acorn on the ground, but it didn't crack. It wasn't broken. It wasn't like anything hatched from it. And she was curious, could this be another Oakling? Is this something like me? She didn't want to become too hopeful, but she did end up grabbing the acorn and taking it back to her spot, like her home. But she didn't have a home. She had a tent that she created with leaves. So she took it back to her spot and kept it warm and snuggly, and kept it close to a fire in hopes that it would hatch. And it did. Out of that acorn came Oak. Oak is a male character, and he was so grateful that T had found him, because if not, he probably would have been stuck in that acorn forever. Unfortunately, when he landed, it didn't allow enough of a force that would crack his acorn, so he wasn't able to get out. And with her just taking care of him and keeping it warm, it eventually was able to get dry enough and warm enough for him to just break out of it. Now, Oak likes bugs. He likes the company of bugs. He enjoys being around them. He even has this kind of ability where he can kind of communicate with them, not fully, but sort of. And he can use them to help scavenge areas and get him materials that he needs to do the little jobs and tasks that he wants to do, which is pretty cool. But he also likes drinking T's teas. So he has a fondness for her tea creations, and he just loves it. He's in complete support of her trying everything new and being the little taste tester for her teas. Oak is also very handy and creative as well. He likes to build things. So he looked at where T was living and saw that she just had a bunch of twigs and leaves stacked up to create her tent, which is nothing wrong with that. But he was just so grateful for her that he wanted to design her own home. And so he got to work. He got sketching, he got drawing, he got out there and started designing some designs for her home, which were the designs that were put out there for a poll. And then with that poll, I was able to combine some of the elements of the most popular voted design options to create her home. And so that's pretty much where we are in the story. Now, I plan on keeping the outside of her home a little bit on a more basic side, because I would like to add to it over time. There are moments where I would probably like to decorate it for the seasons, and also her T's progression on her interests. For example, I want to add a little garden back there, but I don't want to do it for this project. I want to continue to build on it and add to it. Even eventually, I would like to bring Oak's home to life, but I think that's going to be a little bit more complicated, because I have an idea of what I would like to do for his home, and I would like to have it suspended. So I want it to be more higher off the ground and stuff like that, and I'm not quite sure how I would like to complete that. So it's not going to be anytime soon. Maybe this will be like an annual thing where I add to their homes, and maybe next year I can go ahead and build Oak's home. So yeah, let me know if that's something you might be interested in seeing. Leave a comment down below that I should continue this series. And well, it's not really a series, it's like just one video, but if it's something that you would like me to turn into a series where I'm adding to their life and making it more 3D and it's coming to life, then let me know, because I do enjoy sculpting and making things 3D and making things by hand, but it's something I can't do all the time. I lose interest very fast, so I have to kind of do it when I'm like in a mood for it. So yeah, that's pretty much the backstory of Tea and Oak. With that being said, I'm gonna leave you with the rest of the video, so I hope you enjoy. If you have any questions about Tea and Oak's story, or if you want to know more, or if you have any questions about what I'm doing and you want to know like how I did some of the things that I did in this video, feel free to leave any questions and comments below and I will get to all of them. So yeah, thanks so much for watching. I will be working on part 2 and I'll try to get it uploaded as soon as possible. Hopefully you won't have to wait as long as this video took to upload. And I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.